A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Tathastu ICS. I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Pooja Sharma and I am your current affairs and history faculty at Tathastu ICS. So today is 15th of February 2025 and I am going to take your DNA session. Right? This is the QR code for the Telegram channel from where you can access the PDF files of these DNA analysis. Other than that, you can get the PDF files in the description box as well. Okay, even if you don't find any file of that particular day in this Telegram group, then you can search in the description box. You will have the PDF. This is the front page of our today's Hindu newspaper, and the very important news is there on our front page only. That's the deal that happened between USA and India, because we know that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is there in USA. Before that he was in France, and after that he went to USA, and in USA it was all over the news. But we are going to discuss the meeting between Donald Trump and our Prime Minister from UPSC's point of view. Okay, we are going to understand that from UPSC's perspective, what is important for us. Let's start today's discussion. Before that, these are the new courses which are starting at Tathastu ICS. Very important one is the Path Sarthi mentorship program, which is actually it is going to start on 10th of February. 10th of every month this mentorship program is starting. You can actually know about this mentorship program in one of our webinar. Okay, so if you are going to search the YouTube channel, you will find a webinar from where also you can get the information. Other than that, you can call and you can get the information about it. Okay, very comprehensive plan. It is actually very beneficial. Even if you are sitting at home, even after that you can you can leverage from such kind of mentorship. So let's start today's discussion. Which important news we are going to discuss? The first again is related to India's and USA's bilateral treaty which happened between leaders of these two countries, right? The second is the Teesta Dam and the long shadow of the climate change. So this is an article in your editorial page. Article on your editorial page, and this article is actually talking about there was a dam on the Teesta river. That dam actually got destructed because of some natural phenomena. Okay, so after that the editorial is here to tell us now the government is planning to have another dam in the place of the previous one. Now what we need to think about it? We need to think about, do we need such kind of dam? Because we already know that the previous dam was destructed because of the outburst in the lake. We all know that the global warming is happening and the glacial lakes are expanding. Okay, before that they were glaciers. It was frozen ice, but now they are expanding because the water is melting. Because of that there is an outburst in the glacial lake. I will tell you the detail also when we are going to discuss that in detail. So such kind of happenings are there. It was there in Uttarakhand as well. Now the same thing happened in the Sikkim also. So is it feasible for us? It is wise for us to have such kind of dams again. So editorial is actually dealing with that. Now Teesta river is in Sikkim. It is a river in Sikkim, and from Sikkim it goes to Bangladesh. Our third news is related to the inflation dip. So it is again on your editorial page, because today was Saturday, so there was not much on the editorial part as well. So these were the three important news today. Okay, now let's discuss our first article. Before that, someone was asking, should I complete GS first or optional? Look, that depends on the from where you are starting your journey. If you are still in your graduation and your target year is 2027 or 28, then you cover your GS part first, and just 1 year before your examination, the year of your examination, you need to cover your optional, because optional need to be fresh in your mind. Okay, so try to complete your option later on. But those students who are preparing for the 1 year program only, who are only going to prepare for 1 year and going to give their examination, then they have to prepare GS and optional all together. You cannot wait till the October or November to start your optional. You need to make up your mind which option you are going to take, and you need to start studying optional all together with your GS papers. Okay, so you need not to wait for that. Let's start with the first news. This is the news. So let's discuss what all was there in this particular news. Now let's understand the context here first. India and the USA have agreed to start negotiating a trade deal, okay, by autumn 2025. India plans to buy more American energy to help reduce the US trade deficit. We all know that right now we have trade surplus with the USA, and USA has trade deficit with India. It means if there is a trade between India and USA, then we are exporting more but importing less. So USA is in deficit and we are in surplus. Obviously, because of this reason only, the same is with the China, with the USA. That's why Donald Trump was not very happy about it, and he has mentioned many a times that there is a deficit with India and China, and he wants to bridge that deficit. So in that direction only, now the India has actually promised USA that we are going to buy more energy. What we need from USA? With USA, what kind of trade we have? We need technology from there. We need defense equipment from there. We need energy need. We had nuclear agreement with them. So such kind of technical and energy related products we are needing from USA. So this time also the deals are basically around these area only: critical energy, in general nuclear energy, your energy sector, your defense sector. So deals are around these areas only. Now during the meeting, Prime Minister also discussed the defense, security and trade cooperation. So these are the important areas. You can understand what kind of trade can happen between India and USA. Basically defense, security and trade cooperation. Here trade cooperation means this part. Cooperation, how we are cooperating with USA by doing something so that US should not be there in a trade deficit when it comes to India. Actually, that is a good thing for us that we are in trade surplus, but obviously USA is not going to be happy about this. Now the key points from the meeting: the first agreements was related to the trade and energy. Now what was the aim? Now aim is to double the trade which already happening between India and USA to 500 billion by 2030, and it is actually known as Mission 500. So if your examination you will find this word or this phrase Mission 500, then UPSC will ask you questions such as Mission 500 was in news, in what context, then UPSC is going to give you 4 options. So you need to remember that Mission 500 was related to the deal between USA and India, or you can say the trade cooperation between India and USA. What is the meaning of Mission 500? That we are going to make India and USA's trade to $500 billion. It's billion, it's not million, it's $1 billion. The second, India is going to increase US energy import. Given the this part only, we are going to increase this import from right now it is $15 billion, but we are going to increase it to $25 billion, right? Other than that, both countries will collaborate on the small modular nuclear reactor. What are the small modular nuclear reactor? We all know about the nuclear reactors where the nuclear energy is being generated, but according to the experts, that nuclear reactors are not as safe as we thought it was, because we had so many accidents. Fukushima was the most devastating example we can quote here. So in this area, experts are saying that instead of having a big nuclear power plant, why not we have a small modular nuclear reactor? They are going to do the same thing. They are going to produce the same kind of energy, the clean energy, but they are going to be there on a very small scale. And we already have 2008 deal with India and USA. With USA. On the basis of that only, USA is going to help us out to have this small modular nuclear reactor. Again, small modular nuclear reactor are nuclear reactors only, but only very small scale. They are actually much safer as compared to the large nuclear reactor. Let's look at the other area where the meeting was held. Second, defense cooperation. We all know that from USA there were so many defense cooperation between these two countries. So right now, what is the new here? New here is that in USA's plans to eventually supply F-35 stealth fighter to India. Actually, it was not a very new deal, it was a previous deal. But now USA is saying they are going to supply this. What is this stealth fighter? Stealth fighters are such kind of aircraft. So by the term stealth means they are going to hide, so that the enemy country or enemy air force cannot see it. So that's why they are known as stealth fighter. So USA is going to provide us, obviously, for our air force. Then India is going to purchase 6 more P-81 aircraft for ocean surveillance. These are also some kind of aircraft. This is very small one, but obviously ocean surveillance ke liye we need a big aircraft. We already had these P-81 aircraft, but we are going to purchase more. Now look, in UPSC you need not to remember the exact F-35 and P-81. What you need to understand here, that when it comes, in what sense we have trade relation with USA. So with USA, USA is supplying so much of our defense equipment. Obviously we are going to have our indigenous equipment also, but USA is also providing us so much defense equipment. We all know that Russia is also doing the same. Before that, okay, just during the Cold War, the Russia was supplying the most of our defense equipment, but now because the relation between India and USA are much better as compared to that time, now the USA has kind of taken over the role of Russia when it comes to defense cooperation with India. Other than that, a new partnership, US-India Compact, was announced to enhance the military and technology cooperation. What is the meaning of this compact? It is catalyzing opportunity for military partnership and accelerated commerce and technology. So again, if the compact word, this COMPAT is in news, you will know that it is somehow related to India and USA, India-USA defense partnership. Okay, it is related to defense partnership. So that you should know that. Basically, it is revolving around your military partnership, or you can say that a defense partnership. Now, so you understood that what kind of defense cooperation we are having. Basically, we are actually going to purchase these aircraft. One is the stealth one, another one is for ocean surveillance. Other than that, we have announced this India-USA Compact also. Before that, we studied about Mission 500, that we are going to increase our trade with USA from the present day amount to $500 billion. So that was very important. Now let's come to another cooperation. USA, when it comes to security extradition, the USA has approved the extradition of Tahabbur Rana, who was he is considered as the mastermind of our Bombay attack, or you can say the 26/11 attack. So he was one of the mastermind. There were two. Another one was also Pakistani national. He is right now a Canadian national, and right now he is in the jail in San Francisco. But the USA is actually agreed that it is going to transfer him to India. So that is again one thing. Another cooperation is related to US actually has offered India to assist in its border issues with China. Actually, Donald Trump has given a hint to India that US is ready to deal with China when it comes to our border disputes with it. But I don't think so India is going to take much of a support of USA on this matter, because it is India's policy. It is the part of India's foreign policy. India doesn't want the third party to get included if there is a dispute going on between India and its neighbors. Okay. The another thing is which is very popular, you can see so much in news. Now our Prime Minister actually compared the Trump's MAGA slogan. What was the MAGA slogan? It is the Making America Great Again. So you know that it was a slogan, even they had so many, you know. This slogan was the part of the Donald Trump's election campaign. So they are going, so Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, was saying that we are going to change it with MIGA. It means by taking inspiration from MIGA only. But is MIGA, making India great again? The same kind of slogan actually they were. This slogan is actually, he is saying that this slogan is very much aligned with India's Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat, you understand that in this time's budget also, this Viksit Bharat word was so much used. Okay. So this was about this news. Let's come to our next one. Next one is related to the environmental concern related to a dam which was there on a Teesta river, and the government is planning to make another dam. Let's understand the context here. Now, an expert committee recommended rebuilding Teesta 3 dam in Sikkim. Okay, this particular dam was destroyed in October 2023 by a glacial lake outburst flood, which is also known as GLOF. It is actually a phenomena which is actually facilitated by climate change only. I will tell you the detail in the next slide. From the South Lonak Lake. So you remember that this lake is also there in the Sikkim. In this lake only, this glacial lake outburst flood happened. By name you can understand. First of all, glacial lake. It means it is not a plain lake. It is a lake somewhere in the glaciers. Outburst means there was some level of water in that particular lake, but because of the outburst, the lake's water actually was no more confined to the lake and it went ahead, and it actually created flood in that particular area. So by name only you can understand the meaning of GLOF. Right. In that particular disaster, 100 people actually died and 80,000 people were affected. We can say that maybe they were displaced to some other area. Now the scientists found that this unstable glacial condition worsened by climate change and triggered by the flood. So it was because of the climate change. Now the expert is saying that why do we need to make another dam here? We need to stay away from making any kind of dam in the same area because we already had such kind of disaster. Let's understand this glacial lake outburst first. For example, you can see that this is a glacial lake and this is the glacier. Okay, this is a glacier and this is glacial lake in the mountain. Sometimes it is there. It will be in normal condition. It will be confined in the mountainous region only. But because of the global warming, we all know that glaciers are getting melted. Glaciers are getting melted. So the moment if they are going to melt, they are going to break, and some part of glacier is going to go into the lake as well. The moment one part of the glacier is going to be there in the glacial lake, then the water of the glacier is going to jump and it is going to overpower in the lower region, and this is going to create flood in the region. But in normal condition, if there was no climate change, then it was not going to happen. But because of climate change, because our glaciers are melting, the glacial lake outburst is happening. So this is the basic phenomena, very basic phenomena of glacial lake outburst. Now the Himalayan glaciers are melting faster due to rising temperature and pollution. First of all, we all know that. Second, the glacial lakes are expanding, increasing the risk of increased flood. Third, more than 10% increase in glacial lake and 33.7% increase in their surface area. It means now, first of all, we have more glacial lakes, such kind of lakes. Why such kind of lakes? These lakes are the melted part of the glacier only. Lakes, what is the glacial lake? Glacial lake is the melted part of glacier only. Now, if more and more glaciers are going to melt, then we will have more lakes. So there is a 10% increase in the glacial lake in general from 2011. Second, we have 33.7 increase in their surface area. Even if there was a glacial lake before, but its surface area was not that much. Now the lakes which were already there, their surface area is also increasing. So we can say that with time the glaciers are, you know, melting, there will be more glacial lake and there will be more area which is going to occupy these glacial lakes. Now let's look at the Teesta river also. So this is the river, it originates in Sikkim only. This is the Sikkim part. You can see that this is Bhutan, this is our Meghalaya, this is our Assam, this is our Brahmaputra. This is our Brahmaputra. So you can see that this river actually originates in Sikkim, then it enters into the Assam part, Assam of India, and then it directly goes to Bangladesh. So in Bangladesh actually it merged with Brahmaputra. So the merging of Brahmaputra and Teesta happens in Bangladesh, not in India. So that thing is something that you need to remember. Now, what are the concerns about building this Teesta 3 dam? First of all, the location risk. The dam is already there in the earthquake prone zone. Earthquake prone because we all know the whole Himalayas. The Himalayas in general is a young fold mountain. Young fold mountain. Young fold mountains means why they are known as young, because they are still building. Okay, right now if there is height of Himalayas are like that. Now with the time they are increasing, with the time they are still increasing, they are still building. That's why they are known as young, because the Eurasian plate and Indian plate is pushing the Eurasian plate, and that's why we have Himalayas. So Himalayas are still evolving, and if a mountain range is still evolving, obviously earthquakes are bound to happen. So and this area in the Sikkim, this is earthquake can easily come here. So in this area making such kind of big dams is already a big, is not a good wise advice. Second, the environmental issue. Experts worry about the large hydro project in fragile Himalayan region in general also. Other than that, legal and economic concern. We have multiple public interest litigation PILs against this particular dam. Other than that, there are allegations of corruption and improper approval as well. China is not making dam on Teesta river. How can China make dam on Teesta? China is making dam on Sangpo. That is the name of Brahmaputra only, not on Teesta. Teesta river is not going into China. It is from Sikkim and it is going to Bangladesh only. Now, what are the proposed changes here? So, proposed changes are like that we are going to make a dam, but we are going to have more safety this time. The same thing. They are saying that no, we are going to make it a stronger structure this time. We are going to make it a completely of concrete. We are not going to use the rocks. Other than that, they are saying that we are going to have a larger spillway, nearly 3 times bigger to handle the extreme flood. Means they are saying that this time we are going to make this Teesta 3 dam in a very safe manner. We are going to have a better plan of the dam this time. Other than that, they are saying that early warning system we are going to install this time, and they are saying that the worst case scenario design is also going to be there, which is designed by the India's meteorological department, that is IMG. Now, so but again, proposed changes are there, but these concerns are very, very true. So now there is a difference between what is MEGA. MEGA is the, you can say it's a copy of MAGA. What was MAGA? Making America great again. It was a slogan. Now MEGA is the, just change the America with India, making India great again. Okay. Now, what are the social and economic considerations? First, rebuilding should prioritize local safety. Even if there is going to be a Teesta 3 dam, but we need to prioritize the safety of the local people first, because human life matters more than anything else. Other than that, we need to have a strong disaster response plan if some kind of disaster is going to happen in this area. Other than that, the cost of risk management should be included in the electricity tariff, not ignored for profit. It means if that particular dam is going to builds going to have energy, going to make some kind of going to make energy, then that energy, if we are going to sell that energy, then that energy should, the tariff, that energy, when we are going to sell it, then that electricity tariff may risk management, the cost of risk management should be including. I know from by doing that the cost of the energy is going to be more, but now the suggestion is that we need not to think from a profit perspective every time. We need to think from the risk management or the disaster management point of view as well. Instead of just rebuilding, a long-term plan is needed actually. Not only in the Sikkim area, we need such kind of plan in all of the Himalayan region, because such kind of outburst in the lakes were very common in the western part of Himalaya as well, not only in the eastern part of Himalaya. So we need to have a long-term strategy, because we have so much infrastructure in that area, and such kind of disaster is going to have a havoc on the local population which is still living there. So this was all about the article. Basically the article talking about a new dam which is being constructed on Teesta river. Before that the same dam was destroyed because of GLOF phenomena. Now the experts are saying that there is still a risk if we are going to make that dam. Government is saying that we are going to have a better safety measures this time, but in the conclusion we can see that okay, even if we are making a dam, but that dam should include things such as we need to prioritize local safety. Other than that, we need to have a strong disaster response, and we can include the cost of risk management into the tariffs of the electricity which we are going to sell, which is going to get generated from the dam itself. So this is the crux of your article. Now let's come to our next article. So next article is actually about inflation in our country. We all know that inflation increased. In the last quarter, it actually came down a bit. But before that, inflation was very high. And that inflation was basically due to food inflation. Food and fuel inflation also. Fuel, because in the international level, there is so much turmoil going on, especially in West Asia, and it was in the part of Ukraine as well. Other than that, in our country also, food inflation was also going on. So they were the major reason. But now, this time the news is saying that because we had a strong winter harvest, look, because one of the reason for the inflation was the food inflation, because the vegetables were very costly. But now because this time we had a strong and a good winter harvest, so it is going to lower the food inflation to 6%. Other than that, it was 6.6%. Now it came down to 6%. Bringing India's consumer inflation down to 4.3% in January. So that is a good news. And we all know that it is going to be a relief to the householders, because now householders can save money, and if householder can save money, then he can actually do consumption. Consumption will increase, because the money which was getting spent by the householder because of the inflation, that's why the householder was not spending much, because inflation was there. Because the inflation is getting down, then the money, obviously householder is going to spend the money, but the money will be spent somewhere else. So the consumption is going to increase. If the consumption in the economy is going to increase, it is bound that the growth is going to happen, because the more products are going to get generated, because there is a demand. Consumption increase means demand increase. Demand increase, it means the economy need to make more product. If the economy is going to make more product, it means we will have more GDP. If we will have more GDP, it means we are growing as an economy. Recently, we all know that RBI announced the cut in the interest rate as well, which expects the inflation to remain stable around 4.4% this quarter. RBI also cut the interest rate to boost the consumption only, so that the economy, the growth, we can trigger the growth this time. But obviously, along with that, we have so much challenges. What are the challenges? First challenge is related to our rupee depreciation, because our rupee has depreciated. We all know that there is a good news when it comes to inflation, that food inflation is going down, but there can be another kind of inflation, such as imported inflation can be there in our country. Why? Because rupee depreciated. If rupee has depreciated, then our imports are going to get very costly. If imports are costly, it means if imports are costly, the products which are going to made from that import, those products are going to be, you know, costly. Again, it is a inflation only. If the cost of a product is going up, especially when it comes to fuel and edible oil, because you all know that we are importing the edible oil. Edible oil prices actually surged to 15.6% in January. You need not to remember these data. What you need to remember, first of all, like from this line, what takeaway as a UPSC aspirant, your takeaway is to know in general that in our country edible oil import is a big issue, because we are importing the edible oil. We don't have the enough edible oil for the consumption of our population. Our demand is more, that's why we are importing it. Mostly we are importing it from the Southeast Asia, basically the palm oil. So this time the prices surged to 15.6%, with the wholesale prices up to 33.1%. Again, if the oil prices are going to up, inflation, it is going to add on the inflation only, right? So first of all, we can have imported inflation. In imported inflation, one of the best example here we can quote is edible oil prices. Other than that, weather shocks in summer and monsoon could reverse the food prices stability. Right now we have the food prices stability, but now because we are approaching towards summer and then there will be monsoon, if there is any kind of fluctuations in the coming weather condition in India, it can, you know, change the stability of the food items in our country. That can also affect our inflation. So these are a kind of challenges. Good news that food inflation has come down, but we still have challenges which we need to talk about. To sustain lower inflation, the government may need to reduce indirect tax on food, on fuel levies, import duties and GST to ease price pressure on the all income group. It is just a suggestion by the writer of the editorial, but what we can do, we can actually decrease the GST, indirect taxes, you can say the GST, especially on the import duties. In general, GST is the one kind of indirect tax. Other than that, we can, you know, reduce the import duty also, because if import is going to become costly, we can reduce the import duty and we can have some kind of balance out of that. So this was all about this article. So this was it from today's newspaper. I hope all the three news are important, especially the inflation one and the first one, what kind of deal we had with the USA. Other than that, in the second news, which was related to the Teesta river, you need to know about the location of Teesta river in general. Second, you need to know about what is the meaning of glacial lake outburst, okay, that phenomena you should know. Third, you should in general know, you can quote this particular, the news in this particular article in your case studies as well and in other way as well. So thank you so much. Have a very nice day. Do read newspaper also, and those who are appearing for 25, it's a high time. If you haven't started studying, you please do start your studies, because it's not much time is left, and then you won't be able to cover it up. So thank you so much. Have a very nice day.